The rebellion of authenticity, why your true self is your greatest power. Good morning, everyone. I'm truly honored to stand before you today, carrying forward a message that has the power to transform not just individual careers, but entire systems of leadership. Recently, I had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing Markisha Green, a visionary entrepreneur whose journey has fundamentally challenged everything we think we know about leadership, authenticity, and success in spaces that weren't designed for us. Markeisha isn't just building businesses, she's dismantling barriers. She's not just succeeding despite systems of exclusion, she's creating entirely new systems where authenticity becomes the currency of power. Her insights haven't just inspired me, they've awakened something revolutionary that many of us have felt stirring within but couldn't quite articulate. What I'm about to share with you today isn't just another leadership theory from another business guru. This is a radical reimagining of what it means to lead authentically in spaces where your very presence might be revolutionary. And this message resonates with particular power for those who've been told explicitly or implicitly that their authentic selves aren't welcome in professional settings. We've been sold a dangerous, insidious myth. The myth whispers that to succeed professionally, we must conform. We must sand down our edges. We must become palatable, digestible versions of ourselves. This is particularly true for Black professionals who are often told that success requires assimilation, leaving cultural identities at the door and adopting a carefully curated professional persona that makes everyone else comfortable while we suffocate. But what if everything we've been taught about professional success is fundamentally catastrophically flawed? What if the very parts of ourselves we've been hiding are actually our greatest strengths? What if authenticity, full, unapologetic authenticity, is not just personally fulfilling, but strategically advantageous? This is the counterintuitive truth that emerged from my conversation with Markisha. The conventional wisdom says, conform to succeed. The reality says your uniqueness is your competitive advantage. Let's consider what typically happens in professional settings. We're taught that there's a universal template for leadership, usually modeled after dominant cultural norms. We learn to code switch, to adopt certain speech patterns, to dress a certain way, to hide aspects of our cultural identity that might make others uncomfortable. And yes, this approach might help us get through the door, but at what cost? The cost is innovation. The cost is creativity. The cost is authentic connection. The cost is our full potential. When we suppress parts of our identity to fit in, we're not just hurting ourselves, we're depriving our organizations and communities of the unique perspectives that drive breakthrough thinking. We're maintaining systems that value homogeneity over the creative friction that comes from diverse viewpoints. This isn't just philosophical, it's practical. Research consistently shows that diverse teams outperform homogeneous ones, but only when people feel psychologically safe to bring their full selves to work. When people feel they must conform, the benefits of diversity disappear. Let me share a powerful example from my conversation with Marquise. She told me about another visionary entrepreneur who shares her name, Marquisha, founder of Chapter 38 Wine, a boutique winery focused on representation in an industry where Black women are vastly underrepresented. When Marquisha entered the wine industry, she faced formidable barriers, limited access to capital, skepticism from industry peers, and the challenge of carving out space in a traditionally exclusive market. The conventional approach would have been to downplay her identity, to try to blend in with the established wine community. Instead, she did something revolutionary. She leveraged her unique story as part of her brand identity. She built partnerships with local growers who shared her vision for inclusivity. She used social media platforms to reach new audiences who had never seen themselves represented in wine culture. Before founding Chapter 38 Wine, Markisha worked tirelessly, learning every aspect of wine production while building relationships within an industry that wasn't expecting her and certainly wasn't prepared for her vision. The journey wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, rejection, and exhaustion, but she persisted. The result? Chapter 38. Wine has gained recognition not just for its quality products, but for its commitment to diversity. Markeisha has become an inspiration for other aspiring winemakers from underrepresented backgrounds. She's launched multiple successful vintages, hosted educational events aimed at increasing wine literacy among people of color, and received regional awards for entrepreneurship. Her work doesn't just challenge stereotypes about who belongs in winemaking, it shatters them completely. And in doing so, she empowers other Black professionals by showing what's possible when you lead authentically. This isn't an isolated example. Consider Artist Stevens, who became president and CEO at Big Brothers Big Sisters America, one of the nation's largest youth mentoring organizations. When he joined in 2020, the organization was facing declining membership after years without growth. There were long wait lists preventing youth from accessing mentors. Rather than taking an incremental approach, Stevens brought his full authentic leadership style to the role. He expanded partnerships with corporations and foundations targeting underserved communities. He invested heavily in technology upgrades. He launched targeted outreach campaigns, specifically engaging alumni networks within communities of color. Stevens brought nearly 3 decades of experience uplifting young people through philanthropy before taking this role during a period demanding bold change. His authentic approach to leadership wasn't just about personal fulfillment, it was strategically essential for the organization's revival. The outcomes were remarkable. Under his leadership, BBBSA more than doubled annual revenue, reduced waitlists by 1/3, and reversed 10 years of decline, making it once again one of America's most trusted nonprofits. Stevens was even named to the inaugural Time 100 philanthropy list of the 100 most influential leaders in philanthropy. His approach demonstrates how culturally responsive leadership can transform legacy institutions and create generational change by investing directly into Black communities. These stories reveal something profound about leadership that contradicts conventional wisdom. True leadership isn't about fitting yourself into a predetermined mold. It's about bringing your whole self to the table and using your unique perspective to create new possibilities. This is especially important for those navigating complex identities and systems. The Stars series BMF illustrates this beautifully. The show explores real life stories rooted in Detroit's Black community, including characters navigating power dynamics while striving for independence amidst systemic pressures. These characters face generational trauma tied back centuries to systems like the transatlantic slave trade, as well as present day obstacles such as loyalty conflicts and societal judgment regarding ambition versus survival instincts. Through nuanced storytelling reflecting both struggle and resilience, The series humanizes its characters rather than reducing them solely to their circumstances or mistakes. It resonates deeply because it reframes narratives around ambition and survival within historical context, inspiring viewers not only with drama, but also hope rooted in cultural understanding. The show encourages audiences, including entrepreneurs, to reconsider how they judge success and failure stories among marginalized groups while celebrating nuance over stereotype. This brings us to three key insights about authentic leadership that emerged from my conversation with Markisha. First, embracing authenticity. Success doesn't require sacrificing your identity. Being unapologetically yourself can open doors for innovation and genuine connections in business. When you bring your full self to your work, you create space for others to do the same. You build trust through transparency rather than performance. Second, redefining leadership. Effective leadership comes from making intentional choices about how you show up for your community, not just climbing the corporate ladder, but lifting as you rise. It's about recognizing that your success is meaningless if it doesn't create pathways for others. Third, harnessing the power of community. Building strong networks and mentoring relationships creates lasting impact far beyond individual achievement. It uplifts entire communities. When we lead authentically, we naturally build stronger communities because people are drawn to genuine connection. Now, I want to be clear about something. Embracing authentic leadership doesn't mean it will be easy. When you choose to show up fully as yourself in spaces that weren't designed for you, you will face resistance. You will encounter skepticism. You may even face outright hostility. But here's what Markeisha taught me: the alternative, dimming your light to make others comfortable, exacts a far greater toll. It depletes your energy, it stifles your creativity, it disconnects you from your purpose. And perhaps most importantly, when you hide your authentic self, you deny others the permission and inspiration to embrace theirs. This is where the true power of authentic leadership lies. When you lead authentically, you don't just transform your own experience, you transform the environment around you. You create ripples that extend far beyond your immediate circle. When Markeisha founded Chapter 38 Wine as a Black woman in a predominantly white industry, she wasn't just building a business, she was expanding the imagination of an entire industry about who belongs in winemaking. She was creating a template for others to follow. When artist Stevens brought his authentic leadership style to Big Brothers Big Sisters America, he wasn't just turning around an organization. He was demonstrating how culturally responsive leadership can revitalize legacy institutions and create pathways for marginalized youth. This is the revolutionary potential of authentic leadership. It doesn't just help you succeed despite the system, it helps transform the system itself. So I challenge you today: what would happen if you led every day fully embracing your authentic self, even when it means defying expectations? What systems might you transform? What doors might you open for others? The world doesn't need more leaders who conform. The world is desperate for leaders who dare to be fully unapologetically themselves, who use their unique perspectives to imagine new possibilities and create new systems. This is not just about personal fulfillment. This is about collective liberation. Because when you embrace your authentic self, you create permission for others to do the same. You help build a world where success doesn't require conformity, where leadership is defined not by how well you fit the mold, but by how boldly you break it. In a world that constantly tells us to shrink, to conform, to assimilate, choosing authenticity isn't just a personal choice, it's a revolutionary act. It's an act of resistance against systems that were never designed for our success. It's an act of creation, building new systems where everyone can thrive as their authentic selves. Today, I invite you to join this revolution, to stop asking, how can I fit in? And start asking, how can I use my unique perspective to transform the spaces I occupy? Because the truth is, your authenticity isn't a liability, it's your greatest power. And when you embrace it fully, you don't just change your own life, you change the world. Thank you